Hi. Congratulations on being accepted to the School of Science at the College of New Jersey. We're so very excited to welcome you to TCNJ in August. We're sorry we can't be with you in person today, but we're so excited that so many of you are interested in science. And the reason that we're not here today, of course, is the COVID-19 virus. And that is an ever important reason why it's critically important to be focused on science right now and for the public to have a deep understanding of science. So I'm so very excited that so many students are interested in studying science at TCNJ. So welcome again. What I'm going to do, I'm the Dean of the School of Science, Jeff Osborne. I'm going to give you an overview of the undergraduate experience in the School of Science at TCNJ across all 5 of our departments. I don't have time to give you the details of every one of our departments that you have been accepted into, which are biology, chemistry, computer science, math and statistics, and physics. But we will have presentations and materials available on the website from those departments. So please do take time to take a look at them. And visit our website, which is at the bottom of this, at this slide, and you'll see it at the end as well. So as I mentioned a second ago, the School of Science encompasses 5 academic departments listed alphabetically here, and each of you has been accepted into one of those departments. There are opportunities to switch around, to change majors internally. There's a process for that. It won't happen immediately. In addition to the 5 majors, the 5 departments that have multiple majors, and you can learn about those on our website, we have self-designed majors at the College of New Jersey that you can explore. You won't do that initially. You might do that in your first year or the first semester of your second year. Say you're interested in business and chemistry, you might be interested in going into pharmaceutical sales, so you could design some kind of a self-designed major that would couple those programs together. We also have many interdisciplinary programs and research courses and research projects and specializations and minors and certifications, many opportunities for you to explore different disciplines. This is one of my favorite quotes about science, and it really captures what the TCNJ undergraduate sciences experience is like. It's from 2002, but it's even more relevant today than it was in 2002. Is "I don't know" the most underused phrase in the English language. It is a phrase that we need now more than ever. The fuel on which science runs is ignorance and mystery. Go into any modern laboratory, ask the men and women in white coats what excites them, and you will be given a list of enigmas and mysteries, not a catalog of facts. They are as bored as the next person by what is already known. That describes the TCNJ experience in the sciences. That describes what science needs to be in the 21st century. That describes what science is right now, and you're going to get that at TCNJ. So as the header of this slide says, we view science as a verb, not a noun. You are going to be actively engaged in the work of science and the knowledge creation that drives science forward. That defines the TCNJ undergraduate experience in science. In a nutshell, our undergraduate programs are designed to provide you with the experiences and the characteristics and the tools that will make you nationally competitive for whatever it is you want to do. And that's not memorizing facts, that's not book learning, that's giving you the opportunity to routinely ask questions, to passionately seek knowledge, to appreciate ambiguity, and to thrive in an unfamiliar, rapidly changing situation. We're certainly in that right now. When you leave the College of New Jersey in 4 years, you're going to be even better prepared to deal with that. So let me just give you a sense of the undergraduate experience at TCNJ in the sciences. And we are exclusively undergraduate. We have no master's programs, no PhD programs in the School of Science at TCNJ. Our programs, frankly, are national level programs and have achieved national standing and national outcomes. I don't have time to give you every statistic from all 5 of our departments. Again, I encourage you to take a look at their presentations and their materials so you can learn more. I'm just going to give you a handful of examples here just to give you a flavor of what our experience is like. For example, physics. The TCNJ physics department ranks in the top 2% of all physics programs nationally in the country for students who graduate with a physics degree and go on and get lucrative jobs and productive experiences in graduate school and professional school. Similarly, chemistry ranks in the top 4% nationally. And both of these rankings are based on the American Chemical Society for chemistry and the American Institute of Physics for physics. We have been recognized as a national leader in undergraduate research. In 2015, we won the Council on Undergraduate Research's Institutional Award for undergraduate research. They only recognize 3 institutions a year, one that's at a liberal arts college, one that's a comprehensive institution, and one's a research-intensive institution, and we were the first institution to win that award for the country. The Council on Undergraduate Research is a national organization of about 13,000 members. It's the national voice for undergraduate research. Similarly, the National Academy of Sciences has recognized the College of New Jersey for our undergraduate research program. We were featured in a major national report that they published in 2017, and we were one of only a handful of institutions featured as a case study in the national launch of that report at their headquarters in Washington, D.C. A couple of years ago, we were recognized by the Howard Hughes Medical Institute as a leader in providing undergraduate science education for all students. In particular, almost 600 institutions around the country applied for their Inclusive Excellence Awards, million-dollar grants, and only 57 institutions won those around the country, and we were one of those institutions, the only one in New Jersey, in fact. So let me just give you another sense of the national standing of our undergraduate programs, what you will have the opportunity to participate in should you come to TCNJ, and we're excited about that opportunity. We rank again nationally on a per capita basis for the percentage of our students that go on to graduate school and complete their doctoral degrees. And before your parents say to you, oh my gosh, why does the dean want us to pay for graduate school? We haven't even got to undergraduate school yet. The situation in the sciences for graduate school, in particular doctoral degrees and many master's degrees, is those institutions pay you. They pay you a stipend, they pay you housing waivers and tuition and fee waivers. So it's a great opportunity. So let me just give you again statistics from chemistry, because we have these at hand from the American Chemical Society. So if you look at all public institutions and universities in the United States, that includes undergraduate institutions, comprehensive institutions, and research-intensive institutions. And you look at it on a per capita basis. The College of New Jersey ranks #1 in the country for all public institutions on the percentage of our chemistry students who graduate from TCNJ and go on to successfully complete a PhD in just 4 or 5 years. Look at that. We're beating Berkeley, we're beating Penn State, we're beating William & Mary and Purdue on a per capita basis. Our other programs are having similar kinds of statistics. And if you look at the Ivy League institutions, we're beat out just by a fraction of a percentage point this year by Yale. Last year, we were above Yale. So if you come to the College of New Jersey, you're going to have the opportunity to tremendously excel and be at one of the best undergraduate programs in the country in the sciences. What I want to do now is talk about TCNJ's signature experiences. We have 4 or 5 of these kinds of experiences, these kind of pedagogies that really define an undergraduate education at the College of New Jersey. And I just want to go through and give you a few examples of how this manifests, how this plays out in the School of Science. One of those is that we offer a personalized, collaborative, and rigorous education. So you're not a number here at the College of New Jersey. Your faculty are going to know you. So we call our faculty teacher scholars. And the most important part of the teacher scholar model and the teacher scholar mode at TCNJ is that hyphen. Our faculty members seamlessly integrate and interweave their teaching and their pedagogy and their mentoring and their research and their engagement with students. So you're going to see them, they're going to know your name, you're going to engage with them. They're world-class researchers, they're world-class scholars who could be at any institution around the country. They have chosen to come to the College of New Jersey because they want to be in this setting, they want to be at an undergraduate institution, they want to work with, they want to teach, they want to mentor, they want to serve, they want to have undergraduates serve as apprentices with them. And we are continually to revitalize our faculty. Over the last 12 to 13 years, we've hired 55 to 60% of our full-time faculty members. That's about 45 faculty members. We've got 75 full-time, 85 full-time faculty members, 75 tenure line full-time faculty members. And just to give you a sense of their national and international standing, within the last 5 years, one of our mathematicians won a Fellow Award from the American Mathematical Society. Another member of our faculty won the Fellow Award from the American Association of Science. We've had several Fulbright scholars, tremendous accolades for our faculty members. Our faculty are publishing in the best books and the best journals around the country. PNAS is the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. You've probably heard of Nature and the New England Journal of Medicine. And our faculty in the last 14 years have won over $23.3 million in grants. 8.6 is the last 5 years. And those are grants not just for graduate students or postdocs, because we don't have those. Those are grants to support undergraduate involvement in research with their mentors. Grants to support student scholarships to help students matriculate and finish in 4 years. Grants to support curricular innovation. These are all focused on creating a deeply engaging and successful undergraduate experience. I mentioned a couple of minutes ago that you're not a number here. Our average class size in the School of Science is only 22. The student-to-faculty ratio is 13-to-1. So that's a spectacular couple of figures, couple of statistics. And our faculty know you. They will know your name after one or 2 weeks or a couple of class meetings. So the beauty of that is our faculty know you. The downside of that is if you're not that kind of student, our faculty know you. If you're not in class, they will not be shy about emailing you or texting you or calling you to say, how come you weren't in my class today? So we're looking for students who want to be in that have that kind of personalized experience, have that kind of opportunity to know their faculty, have that kind of an opportunity to be pushed by their faculty. So I mentioned a few minutes ago that we have no graduate programs in the sciences, so you will not be in labs or courses here where graduate students are TAing the labs or teaching the full courses. All of our faculty teach all of their own courses, all of their own labs, all of their own recitations, and that helps create this personalized experience. Students have the keys. I'll talk about how many students are involved in research in a couple of minutes. But every one of our faculty members has a lab group, has a research group of anywhere from 4 to 8 students in their group, and those students really do literally have the keys to the lab and have 24/7 access to the buildings and to the research spaces. When you graduate from the College of New Jersey, you will be successful in many ways. These are some of the most recent statistics that cut across the School of Science. More than 95% of our students who graduate from the College of New Jersey are either working or in graduate or professional school within a year after graduation. Those are phenomenal statistics. And as I mentioned, if you're in graduate school, the graduate schools are typically paying the students a stipend and waiving their tuition and fees and often providing housing as well. If you look at the mix of where our students go, about 30% go directly into the workforce or an industry, and that includes students who graduate from TCNJ with a teaching degree and go on and become teachers, and we have a tremendous success rate of students that go on to teaching careers. About 35% go on to graduate schools, so that means they pursue a PhD or a master's degree, and about 35% go on to professional schools, and that includes dental school and medical school and veterinary school, and a few that go to law school. Because our students have gotten bit by the research bug when they're here, many are now going on to what are joint MD, PhD programs as well. And the acceptance rate into those graduate schools and professional schools is incredibly high. I showed you the statistics a few minutes ago for PhD acceptance and PhD production of our students who are undergrads at TCNJ. Another number that we have a good handle on is students being accepted into medical school, because there's a national clearinghouse organization that tracks all those numbers. Between 65 and 70% of TCNJ students that apply to medical school get in every year, and that's a tremendous number. The national average is in the mid 40%. So undergraduate research and engagement in internships and field experiences is another one of our signature experiences. And research and undergraduate engagement and authentic research is really key to the undergraduate experience at TCNJ in the sciences, because after all, this is how knowledge is created in the sciences, through research. And our students are partners in the production of that new knowledge. They're not just technicians or workers in the lab. They are enrolled in credit-bearing courses. They are apprentices with their mentors with their faculty mentors in their groups. So in the School of Science, we have about 1,200 students who are majoring in our 5 departments. About 400 every year are enrolled in a credit-bearing research course. That's about a third of our students every year. And by the time they graduate, our students have done 2 or more semesters of credit-bearing research, as well as full-time research experiences during the summer. About 75% have done that level of research. So as a result of that, our students leave the College of New Jersey as scientists, not having just been students of science. And that has contributed to the success that was in the slide or two that I showed you back before about how successful they are about getting jobs and getting into graduate and professional school. In addition to the academic year research experiences, over 100 students participate in our on-campus residential summer program. We call it the MUSE program, which stands for Mentored Undergraduate Summer Experience. So those students are here for 8 weeks. They live in the residence hall as a group. There's a lot of community activities, and they spend 8 weeks doing full-time research as a group with their mentor during the summer. In addition to those 100 students, we have hundreds that go off campus every summer and do research-based programs and internships as well. Probably another 75 to 100 do that every summer as well. Here are a couple of pictures from last summer. The image on the left, my left, is a group of biology students, just a handful of biology students that went on a canoe trip. Here's a lab group in the chemistry department on the right that's getting together in their writing group and having a community meal. Part of the research experience and the professional development experience of our students is getting them out there across the country, internationally as well, to share their research outcomes, to meet new scientists and other students, and to network that will allow them great opportunities to get jobs and get into graduate school and get into professional school. So the School of Science supports over 100 trips every year and is fully supporting our students to go to conferences and meetings and present their research. On a typical year, our faculty and students present up to 120 research presentations at off-campus professional conferences every year. Down in the lower right is a picture of students at the American Chemical Society National Meeting a few years ago. That year we had the largest number of undergraduates from any chemistry department around the country at that meeting. On the left is a picture of a computer science research labs, and those students are getting ready to go to a national conference as well. Our students are successful at getting really prestigious fellowships and scholarships and awards. Here are just a couple of examples from the last 5 years. One of our students won a Fulbright fellowship to go to Finland. We've had now 7, forgot to update this slide, we've had 7 Goldwater Fellows. These are 2-year scholarships for juniors and seniors here at TCNJ to do research and to advance their science. I think those are $7,500 scholarships each year, so the award is maybe $15,000 if a student gets it when they're a junior. We've had a lot of our students win National Science Graduate Research Fellowships. These can be won as an undergraduate senior or in the first year of graduate school. Now, 2 to 4 seniors win it every year, and 2 to 4 first-year graduate students win it every year who have participated in our prep program. Those fellowships provide each student with $138,000. Tremendous amount of support. Here's another great example from computer science. One of our computer science majors won a KPCB fellow to spend the summer in Silicon Valley. There were over 200 applications from over 200 universities. Only 35 fellows nationally were selected, including 1 TCNJ student. A big part of the TCNJ experience is community engaged learning. One of the hallmarks of our mission is to serve the communities in which we live. That means our local communities, our regional communities, our state community, and our national community, as well as the international community. We have mechanisms built into the curriculum that allow students to engage in community engaged work directly in their courses in their first year. In addition to those, community level work extends across the science curriculum and the science research experiences. I frame this here as sort of science that matters and science that cuts across disciplinary boundaries. Let me just give you a couple of examples. Here's one from computer science. The chair of our computer science department has partnered with colleagues in the journalism department as well as other departments around the college. And interactive multimedia and Habitat for Humanity. So they're working with Habitat for Humanity to go out and study the sites where Habitat Humanity is going to build buildings or renovate a building, and they want to understand whether or not the site has been polluted or the site is a good site to build, the site is a good place to work on, and our students from these different disciplines are working on that challenge in collaboration with Habitat for Humanity to build some online tools for the students to provide better mechanisms to communicate with the Habitat for Humanity officials and volunteers, as well as the individuals who are going to live in those homes. Here's another example that science that matters about community level work really at a global scale. You saw this picture of Professor Nate McGee from our physics department and two of his undergraduate research students earlier in the talk. And Professor McGee is an atmospheric physicist, so he and his students launch weather balloons. You can see on the picture on the left, they're out in what we call Quimby's Prairie in front of the main administrative building and academic building, Green Hall. They're launching a weather balloon that has a payload on it, which is like a thermos that has liquid nitrogen in it. It's very, very cold. This weather balloon goes up into the atmosphere, and that thermos will automatically open at a particular altitude when it reaches the cirrus clouds, and it will capture the ice crystals that are inside of those clouds. The balloon will burst. It will fall back down. It will fall back down with a parachute to land. There's a GPS tracker in there. The students and the professor go out and find the tracker, and those ice crystals that came from the cloud are preserved in that liquid nitrogen, frozen in an in situ environment, in the condition that they existed in the cloud in real time. They rush back to our $700,000 scanning electron microscope, and this microscope has tremendous numbers of bells and whistles. They put those ice crystals in a cold stage. It's at the same temperature as they were in the cloud, and then they look at those ice crystals, and then they raise the temperature of that stage and watch what happens when the ice crystals melt, mimicking global climate change effects. This is incredibly novel. It's not being done anywhere else in the country. Only 2 or 3 institutions globally have a microscope that's set up for this way. Professor McGee and his undergraduate students are really pushing the boundary of science. And what you can see here is that these students are running the microscope. We have millions and millions of dollars of really sophisticated scientific instrumentation, including this particular microscope. At most institutions, it's only the professors or the graduate students or the postdocs that can touch these sophisticated instruments. Our undergraduates are spinning the knobs and twisting the dials and know how the instrument works and why the instrument works that way. And this positions them for tremendous jobs and tremendous success when they leave TCNJ. Our students and our faculty are also tremendously engaged globally. This is Professor Wickramasinghe from the physics department and one of his students, Tim. Professor Wick took his student to an international conference in Egypt a few years ago, and they delivered a presentation, and it's never just about the science. So they ventured out to the pyramids to explore the history and the culture of the country that they were visiting. We've got many, many mechanisms for science students to engage globally. And it's a challenge right now at this particular moment in time. That will change during your 4 years at the College of New Jersey, and you will have opportunities to study abroad and to engage globally again, absolutely. So these are just 3 examples of faculty-led trips. A professor in our biology department teaches a course called The Natural History of the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador. That's a course where students take here during the spring semester. and then right after the spring semester ends, they make 2 weeks of field work in the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador, and it's a spectacular experience for our students. A physics professor, also along with a history professor, have taught a course called Science in the early 20th century in Germany, the birth of the atomic age, the birth of atomic physics, and a professor in chemistry in the Department of Art have taught a cross-disciplinary course exploring art and chemistry in London. In addition to those faculty-led trips, which continue to expand, we have others, and I don't have time to talk about all of them. We have many partnership programs with programs all around the world where our students go and take credit-bearing courses that transfer back naturally into the curriculum here. And as I showed you a minute ago, our students are going to international conferences, and we have research exchange programs with a series of institutions around the world as well. Just to give you to add a little life to those faculty-led courses, these are a couple of images from the Galapagos course that I talked about in the last slide. In the top image, it may just look like rocks, but in fact, those gray and brown things that you see on the top of the rock strata are iguanas, marine iguanas that are endemic to the Galapagos Islands. You've probably heard of them. And those are our students sitting right behind those iguanas studying them. And there are some students snorkeling with some tortoises in the water of the Galapagos Islands. So you can watch a nature show or a NOVA show or watch lots of videos on the internet, but there's nothing like being just a few feet away from these really spectacular animals. Similarly, this is a slide from that trip to Germany studying the birth of atomic physics. So it's one thing to go into the museum in Munich and see the displays that are out for the public. It's another thing, because you're on this course, to be invited to the collections that are behind the scenes and get to actually see the original apparatus, the original instrument that we used to first observe uranium fission. And our students, again, had the opportunity to do that with their professors. As I said, that our students were linked up in this physics course with a history course as well, so it was not just about the science, it was about the history and the culture of Germany. So here we have some students looking at what was the Berlin Wall and a fragment of the Berlin Wall that was still existing, standing in front of the Brandenburg Gate, which separated East and West Berlin, and having a lovely meal together. So it's about camaraderie, it's about community, it's about culture, it's about history, it's not just about science. Another key piece of what we do at TCNJ in the School of Science as well is providing our students with lots of opportunities to develop their leadership skills. And leadership is not just about being an officer in a student organization, it's about learning how to interact with people and leading in non-positional ways as well. So this is one of our computer science students who was at a national conference with her mentor and with a group of other women students. It was a Women in Computer Science conference, and she is meeting and talking personally with Fran Allen, who was the first woman to win the Alan Turing Award. That's the Nobel Prize, effectively, for computer science. This was a tremendous moment for our students, and it's characteristic of what happens when our students go out nationally. Again, let me just give you a few examples of how that plays out here on campus as well. We have many, many student organizations. I'm just going to give you another chemistry example just because I don't have time to talk with you about all 5 of our departments. I encourage you to take a look at their presentations and see what their student organizations are. The lead organization in the chemistry department is what's called the Student Chemist Association, which is a student chapter of the American Chemical Society, which there are student chapters all across the country. We have won 2 national awards for the last actually 7 years now, the Green Chemistry Award and the Outstanding Chapter Award. Again, those are phenomenal statistics, and it shows the level of engagement and the level of national leadership and how our students are pushing themselves to sort of learn as much as they can in and out of the classroom. Another cool thing that our Chemist Student Association did, and this is emblematic of all of our organizations, is that they painted a mural in the basement of the chemistry building that was all about chemistry, and it was a really creative and interesting and artistic display of chemistry and the periodic table of elements and quantum effects and so on. And they won the cover of the American Chemical Society's In Chemistry magazine, and there was a feature story in that journal issue as well. Really, really cool stuff. Last year at Alumni Weekend, the student chapter of the American Chemical Society here and the alumni did a Pie a Professor event. And again, it was just a tremendous amount of fun, and it shows you how our faculty are just so student-centered and are having fun with their students. Our physics department, a couple of years ago, put in a bid to the American Physical Society, this is a national organization, to host the Conference for Undergraduate Women in Physics for the Northeast. There are about, I think, 8 of these across the country, and we won the Northeast chapter, and we hosted it about a year ago in January of 2019. This is one of our students introducing the plenary speaker in this very hall, Mayo Concert Hall in the Music Building. Over 300 people from across the Northeast were here. Undergraduate students, faculty, professionals, graduate programs, employers. It was a great networking opportunity. Many of our physics students attended and did a tremendous amount of networking and learned a lot. And again, it shows you the national position and engagement of our programs. Just to give you a flavor, here are a list of a variety of the student organizations that are in each of our departments, as well as some cross-cutting student organizations that relate to health careers, and there are others as well. I couldn't fit them all on a slide. Take a look at our website, take a look at the departmental slides. Let me just give you one other example of our student leadership. Since 2013, our students, back in 2013, our students said to us, we would really like to host a science-themed meal in the main dining hall, Eichhoff Hall, if you visited campus before. And we said, that sounds like a great idea. In fact, we have a speaker coming who's going to do something around food and science. So we went to dining services, and they were all excited about doing it with us. And our students planned for 6 months this great meal on molecular gastronomy that was held in 2003. That was so successful that dining services then began partnering with every academic school on campus to have a themed meal, one a semester. Well, we were up again in 2017, I think, 2017, 2018, and this one was called Tasting the Tree of Life, Exploring Biodiversity Through Cuisine. And our students planned it for 9 months, and it was a spectacular event. There are some really great images here you can see. The students worked the event, students planned the event. Over 3,400 people ate at this meal, and we had a keynote speaker, and we won lots of national awards and presented at lots of conferences, and our students published a paper on this in a journal on scientific communication, and the executive chef at TCNJ was a co-author with our students and our faculty. Let me end with a section on what I'm calling science connections. It's not just about the science, as I've mentioned a couple of times throughout the presentation. It's about how science matters. It's about how science interjects in the life outside of our areas. And what you're looking at here are 3 leaves that look like they are artistic prints, and they are artistic prints, but they're actually living leaves. So this particular guest that we had as a speaker modified the chloroplast in the leaves so that they would create these artistic images within the leaves. So here are 3 examples of ways in which we have very intentionally and purposefully connected science with other areas on campus. We hosted a speaker on the mathematics of gerrymandering, how voter districts have been gerrymandered all across the country, and how you can use mathematics and statistics to understand the basis of those gerrymandering patterns and ideally reverse them. And that's particularly important as we're in an election year. We also hosted a couple of events as examples regarding music and biology. The image on the bottom left is Nate Irwin. He's an entomologist at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. He came and gave a presentation on the music of insects, and we also had a concert that was interrelated to that called Scrape, Bang, and Blow. And the different ways that different kinds of insects make sounds is by either scraping or by banging or blowing, and the way that different musical instruments make sound is those same ways. So there was this wonderful connection between biology, insects, and the way that music is produced by humans. This is just an example from last fall. One of our physicists, who's a geophysicist who studies seismology and earthquakes and volcanoes, took her seismometers out to the athletic fields, and when our women's field hockey team was competing for the state championship, Professor Graham and her undergraduate students measured in real time the sound difference that were coming from the cheering and the stomping in the stands. And here you can see where we made some fields or where we blocked goals. Again, connecting science to a variety of fields on campus. Finally, let me end with physical connection. So if you had the opportunity to visit TCNJ in the fall or earlier this spring, you saw our beautiful campus, and there's a lot on our website. We want you to take the video tour. We have a series of buildings now that are just spectacular buildings that are all adjacent to one another and almost all interconnected physically. This is what we call the STEM complex. The two orange-colored buildings there, the STEM building, and in addition onto the chemistry building, as well as a thing called the Forum, were brand new buildings that opened up in 2017. And the blue buildings are the biology building, the physics and math building, the chemistry building, and the Armstrong Hall, where the rest of engineering is located. Those were renovated over the last 2.5 years, and those renovations have now finished. So all of these STEM buildings are directly attached to each other and directly off the main quad, Quimby's Prairie. So we have a central place on the campus. We have beautiful facilities that have millions of dollars of instrumentation in them. There's glass all over the place. It's about bringing science on display. And again, it's not graduate students, it's not the postdocs, it's you, undergraduates, who are really the heart of what's happening at TCNJ. And we've built these facilities to facilitate that level of engagement. Just to give you another example of how that's happened, we have invested significantly in big data and scientific computing. In our new STEM building, we have what we call a high-performance computing cluster, or a scientific data center, and we've just finished a couple of big national couple of $1 million grants where we have connected that high-performance computing cluster directly to the labs and to the offices and to the classrooms in all of the other science buildings. So the bottom right picture is Professor Baker from the chemistry department and his students, and they are doing work in a chemistry lab, which is in another building. They're directly connected to the high-performing computing cluster via this internal high-speed network that goes through a separate pipeline. So he's got direct access to high-speed work in those labs. The renovations of these buildings also brought the design elements of the new building into our older buildings, which are not that old, frankly. So we interjected study spaces with glass and lounge areas and student commons all over the place. Our students just love them and are filling these spaces constantly. So this, as we end up winter, here's a picture from winter of the STEM complex buildings, really beautiful buildings, $100 million investment that's focused on undergraduate education, that's focused on you, really. And these buildings are great, and we love them, and we thank the donors who have contributed to them, and the residents in the state of New Jersey who approved a bond initiative back in 2015 or 14. But the buildings are just buildings, and they really provide the opportunity for this. You're going to come here for your minds to be engaged, to learn, to stretch, to be the creators of new knowledge. So again, we hope you will consider the College of New Jersey very much in your decision. We wish we could host you on campus, but like many institutions around the country, that's just not possible right now. But this is the place to study science. This is the place to position yourself for a career in whatever pathway you want to go. You're going to leave here incredibly successful. So as I end, please plan to connect with us. The Join the Pride website where you're looking at this video will have materials from our other individual departments. Please take a look at those. Please visit our website down at the bottom and connect with us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and other ways. Thanks so much, and we hope to see you in the fall. Bye.